Hello and welcome back to Composers in Crisis. In response to COVID-19, we're talking about composers whose lives and art were transformed by times of global crisis. I'm Rebecca Smithorn, cover conductor and lecturer with the National Philharmonic, and in our last video we talked about Maurice Ravel's experiences in the First World War and the Spanish flu epidemic. And today, I'd like to share with you some works of Ravel's that you might want to add to your stay-at-home playlist. And there are two pieces in particular that I hope you'll take some time to listen to. And they happen to be pieces that bookend Ravel's wartime experience. The last piece that he writes going into the war, and the first piece he writes coming out. And the first of these is a piano suite that Ravel starts to write in 1914, just before war breaks out. And it will eventually be called Le Tombow de Couperin, or The Tomb of Couperin. And Couperin is just a Baroque French composer that Ravel especially admires. And when he starts it in 1914, he imagines it as a tribute to classical French dance form. But when he picks it up again after the war, he's not thinking about Couperin's grave, he's thinking about the graves of all of the friends that he has lost. So he dedicates each of the 6 movements to a friend who was killed in combat. And even though it's a war memorial, it is not bleak. It is joyful music, it is delicate music, and when people noticed this, Ravel is said to have replied, "The dead are sad enough in their eternal silence." So that's the first piece I hope you'll add to your stay-home playlist. The second is the first piece that Ravel wrote after his long recovery period at the end of the war. It's a one-act opera called L'Enfant et le Sortilège, or The Child and the Enchantments. And this is probably my favorite Ravel work, so I really hope you'll take some time to experience it. The libretto is by the famous French author Colette, and if you want to add a movie to your stay-home playlist, you could stream the 2018 film Colette about her wild early life. Ravel makes no appearances in it, but it's still an interesting watch. In 1915, while both Ravel and Colette are serving in the war effort, she sends him a new opera libretto that she has written, hoping that he will write the score. It doesn't even reach him until after the war is over, and at that point he is consumed with poor health and depression. 4 years later, he finally replies to ask her if she still wants such an unreliable collaborator. Of course she does. And together, these two artists who have been through so much create a work that is spectacularly imaginative and funny and moving. It is like opera for Pixar lovers. The plot is simple. A little boy gets locked in his room for refusing to do his homework. And when he gets there, he throws a tantrum. He tries to destroy everything. His toys, his pets, the furniture, the trees in the garden. And the nursery objects magically come to life to take revenge on him in this hilarious parade of characters. There is a famous cat duet that has no words, just meows. And there is a chorus of angry numbers that comes to taunt him over his unfinished math homework. And I'm not going to spoil the ending for you, except to say that what's most remarkable about the piece, aside from its creativity, is a disarmingly powerful message of redemption and reconciliation. Now, L'Enfant got mixed reviews at its premiere. A lot of critics thought that it was just too weird with its talking clocks and cats and numbers. But one of Ravel's close friends and collaborators writes to him and says, "I am filled with affectionate admiration when I see you walking on a tightrope. I call bourgeois anyone who renounces combat and love for personal safety. There are passages in L'Enfant in which you renounce yourself. There isn't one passage in which you renounce combat or love." It's a beautiful piece. I hope you have some time to hear it. Those are my Ravel recommendations for your stay-home playlist. Enjoy!